Welcome to the American Roadrunner Podcast. Glad you could join us for this episode. I am your host, Bob Marshall. Here we share stories from the road, all tales from our two-wheeled motorcycle machines. Whether you're a beginner or advanced rider, on-road or off-road, wrencher, racer, commuter, or just a weekend warrior, this is the podcast for you. Named after the book American Roadrunner. Enjoy, my fellows. We're going to get to part 2 of the show here, Beulah May and her healing road, in just a minute. But first, a quick note. If you heard part 1, you know that motorcycling is just like life. You get to go down that road, and sometimes that road has bumps. Sometimes it's nice and smooth. Sometimes you get weather, a bit of wind, a bit of rain. Sometimes it's really effing hot, and other times it's absolutely a perfect clear day. You just never know. Please know that in part 2 here, it does continue to get a little dark and a little deep, and this podcast, doing this interview with my dear friend Beulah, really took a lot out of me. But I promise you, it gave me so much more than it took out. And her sharing her story with us on her healing road, and all the good things that she's gotten out of life lately, and moving forward, it's just all absolutely priceless to me. I hope you as well get a lot out of the show, as I know I did. Enjoy, my fellows. Part 2, Beulah May and her healing road. That's really an important part of the healing road. I give you a lot of credit. You know, there's a lot of funerals I've missed lately. Mikey's funeral was the only one I've been to since my dad's. I just can't. And as soon as I walked in, I remember, it was a wonderful service. Mm-hmm. Props to you and your family. But I looked over at, I looked over at Richie, and Richie was crying, and I almost fell on the ground. Geez. I couldn't even, anyways, it was and I think even that, though, I left early. I'm like,
I almost did too. I would doing the line afterwards, and then gracious of you. Well, I was like, just say hi to the first few people. I don't know what to do or say. This is weird, and I was still I had this weird clarity because there was nothing else that fucking mattered in my life. And this I'm figuring out right now, right on the spot. There was nothing else going on in my life. That was the most important fucking thing, was taking care of him, his family, my family, holding it all together. And because I had so many people around me, my neighbor bought me gift cards for the grocery store. Wow. Mitch and Connie came over and brought me paper towels and shampoo, little shit. So I'm not running out of trash bags and I have to go to the store for a trash bag. Mm-hmm. Every little thing. I never knew what you should do for someone when this happens to them. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. But it's do what you can.
That's right.
And
best.
Every little thing that everybody did made it easier. Every text was this is 3 more seconds into the future because I just replied back. It kept me rolling. And as soon as there was a lull, someone else would come in, and not even it wasn't coordinated. It was just well, these friends have, come over, and it wasn't just about me. You lost a friend it what I mean? It wasn't just me. I would say that when people came over, he was your friend too.
He really was.
It's not just me.
Friend. And he was very, last time I saw him was at that,
Kernville?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the time before that. I rolled into the wreck
for
the show they were doing, and it was butts to nuts in there. And
the Helsinore, yeah.
The Helsinore. That's right. The Helsinore. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, this grown-ass man is standing in front of me hugging me, and I'm and honestly, he hugged me. I didn't even know who it was, and he's wearing overalls. Uh-huh. So I had to grab him, push him back, and look at his face in the dark. I think, who? Oh, Mike. Oh, shit. Yeah, man. Good to see you. Yeah, okay. Hug me again. Good to see you, brother. Holy shit. He was all smiles and happy.
Yeah, that was we fucking pulled that show off. That was pretty
good show. I still have my shirt. I should have worn it. Man, that's a good shirt.
Yeah. was a good time.
Show. If you ever want to redo that one somehow, I'm in.
I've had other people say the same thing. It's a lot.
Take your time.
I'm not thinking about it yet. But anyways, so yeah, just every little thing to like move me forward, I think I think maybe that's part of it that made me feel so open because like I said, usually I'm in control of things. I know who's going where, what time, what I'm taking, what I'm packing, where am I going, what's the weather going to be like. Like I just, try to get every detail beforehand. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't matter. You can plan all you want.
It doesn't matter.
You can plan everything you want.
That's right. Control really is an illusion. And I think riding motorcycles, we learn that more than the next person. I work very hard to stay alive. I know you do. And people are going to cut us off. All we can do is our best. It's really no different. Riding motorcycles is just a little bit more dangerous than riding in a car, but not, it's okay to take your time with all of it regardless. Mm-hmm. It's a brand new theory for you.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that years ago, like, well, let's see what Beulah packs and whatever she's packing, well, she'll know because she'll have it all planned out. And you would say, oh, the weather's going to be like this. And just all sorts of crazy information I don't even care about, but I knew it was important to you. So I let you.
Well, for me, I've ridden in so many different kinds of weather and I've made those mistakes. It's like, I'm not going to make that mistake again. Like that's dumb.
Have you?
But the other thing is, especially with motorcycling, is like, you're always going to pass a fucking Walmart. So if you lose your water bottle or you need some rain gear or you need more, whatever, like
it's all out there
you'll find it on the road if you need it. So it's really not that important. Just make sure you have what you need to take care of yourself. So I always make sure I bring whatever weather gear. I always bring rain gear. I'll pack it way in the bottom of my bag, but I've always got it.
Yeah.
Water, Excedrin, I want to be Tums. Like, I just want to be comfortable. My body has to feel comfortable. I don't have a Shiwi.
You don't have a Shiwi?
No.
Man, Annette's got like 20 of them. She hasn't given you.
I'm not.
You're not up for it? Okay,
I'm not. No, yeah, I'm not. Are they reusable?
Yeah, you wash them.
No, see, but if I'm using it, it means I'm on the side of the road. I've got nowhere to wash. Nah, I'd rather just pee in a bush and be done with it.
Use a bit of water from your water bottle.
It just feels
That's
weird.
How I've seen the girls do it,
I'm just not.
I get it.
That's not that important to me.
I get it.
That's not that important to me.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that it's not an important tool. Just like I haven't found a place for that in my life.
Well, there's a few more secrets that women have to have up their sleeves compared to men when it comes to that, and it's not a big deal because it's part of your. To me, I don't bring extra chonies. I bring extra baby powder. Where to you. Who was it? Kelsey was here saying she packed 17 pairs of underwear, just like in a little ball.
What do I pack? I pack a pant. I don't usually bring a second pant. A pant, a short, and underwear and socks for the whole trip. But like I was on the road for 10 days for the first trip to Oregon. And I knew I was going to stop at my friend's house and I could do laundry. So I just packed enough to get me to the halfway point.
That's good. That's a good one. You showed up pretty light, I remember. You had your tent and everything.
Yeah. I didn't use it that first night. I slept in Asla's tent. So I didn't.
Are we talking about the night you slept in my tent?
That never happened.
Oh, that was
maybe in your dreams. But that never happened. The offer was there. The offer. It
was kind of warm. I just thought if it's cold, like, I'm going to cuddle up to someone.
No, Asla already had her stuff set up. And I'm like, if I just sleep in her tent, I just have to pull out my sleeping bag and I don't have to pack anything in the morning. Cause that's the only thing I don't like about, motorcycle camping. If you're moving night to night, I hate packing up in the morning cause it just fucks up my hands and my cuticles. They're already dry from going in and out of the gloves. Like I hate rolling up my dirty tent.
Well, yeah, because I only put my tent up one night. Other than that, I used it as a big sleeping bag. I just crawled under it and laid out under the stars and watched the stars, watched the night sky. I didn't even set up my tent. I keep it all like a big sleeping bag anyways. So I'd roll it out, crawl into it, pretend it was a big, like, bivouac bag, if you will. That would be the term. And, the only night I set it up, I think, was the second night. I don't even know why. I think I just set it up to see if I could. But regardless, there's not. But I've learned to carry a big tent, too. Mm-hmm. I really like the bigger tents instead of... I had a little tent on that trip, and I don't think I'm just going to go really big tent now. That way, when it gets cold, everyone can come into my tent. And no one's frozen.
That's Bob's master plan.
That's my master plan. Usually
slumber party in Bob's tent.
Usually it's dudes, so it's not much of a mess. But, that's a big thing.
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
Not going quite how you planned?
Not going
no pillow fights?
No, there'll be none of that. But I think that's a big, I've really frozen by myself in a tent. And so I've learned.
I've got a good sleeping bag.
Good.
I've got a 0-degree mummy bag. And I'll just squish it all the way up so only my nose is out.
Nice.
My nose gets cold, but it's okay.
I should have videotaped that.
Well, and it goes up over my head too. Right. So because that's what gets cold is the top of your head. So it just goes all the way. And I like having fresh air. I like to sleep with my windows open, even if it's cold, just because I like that fresh air.
Yeah, me too. I get it.
And, no, it's a 0 degree. So if it's, not 0 degrees outside, then you just open it up.
So this was a big thing for me back in the day when I was married, but how is it, are you colder now when you're out camping, sleeping alone?
No, because we always had our own sleeping bag.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Even in Kernville, you all had your own sleeping bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because, with the sleeping bags, even because there's some that you can zip them together.
Yeah.
But there's still that space where the air gets in.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I like to be my blankets have to be all tucked in and tucked around or
I've just
typical
learned.
Girl with one leg out.
one big beautiful 2 foot out. Oh, that's funny. Well, I've learned, let me get back to the microphone. I've learned if you, if you're used to sleeping with another person in the bed and then you go out camping, I just fucking freeze. I freeze. And I wake up shivering and I put a toque on my head, but I wake up and it's on the other side of the tent somehow. Somehow my feet are by my boots. And, so you got my vote. Good for you. You're beautiful boys.
Okay.
Fans.
Let's talk about
I'm just
them.
such a big fan of all the good stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
Did you tattoo their names on your fingers? Is that why it's born on one side, mean on the other?
No. Do you know where that came from? Do you really not know?
I remember. No, tell me.
So I have Born Mean tattooed on my knuckles.
Yeah.
Mikey wrote a song about me called
Arkansas Toothpick had a Born Mean song?
Yeah, called Born Mean. He could never play it live because the vocals went up too high. Okay. And after he was screaming his other songs, he couldn't hit those notes. Okay. And it was kind of a slow song. It was kind of a bummer and to put it into a set somewhere. But yeah, he wrote, and he's like, "Oh, Born Mean, that would fit on your knuckles." I'm like, "Cool. Can I really get him tattooed?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So I went and did it before he said no.
Oh, that's
I mean, and it's funny because this one I got in January, but I don't have anything else on my arms. None of my other tattoos show.
You just got that tattoo in January because I was looking at it earlier going, I don't remember that. And you just got it in January.
Well, but I've seen you plenty of times since January.
It's not I'm checking out your inner armpit and looking for tattoos, my friend, Oh, yeah. Gosh, that's pretty good. Good for you.
No.
You're two beautiful boys. I'm big fans of all they do.
Yeah. Jacob just turned 21 and he is a corpsman in the Navy and he's been in for 2.5 years now. And he was on Guam for almost 2 years and just got back. And he's at Camp Pendleton right now. And we're not sure. I think in February No, because I was saying 2 words, but they went together, so it sounded like I fucked up. So it sounded like I fucked that up, but I didn't. February, we things may change, but for now, he's here in Southern California, and actually, I met up with him last weekend and went to a couple skate parks, and my friend Jackie met up with us.
Nice.
And she went skating with him, and that's another one that I met at Babes in Borrego. Nice. And to have her still be part of my life and see all this stuff, and she's been really great recently for me too. Getting a lot of advice from her and being able to share, because there's not a lot of people that I can share a lot of stuff with. I feel like there's certain people in my life where it's like, I know I can talk about this with you. I know I can talk about that with this other person.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Whatever, their strengths are, and where they, could help me. anyways, so Jacob, yeah, he's doing good things. And he said he still hasn't made up his mind if he's going to stay in for the long haul.
It's a big commitment.
It is. And that's been rough for him, that commitment of time. You know, it's time away from the family and time away from a relationship that he might want to have that, you know, someone else might not understand that commitment of time.
Yeah.
But so if he doesn't stay in for the long haul, he wants to go to Korea and teach English for a year when he's done. And then after that, he's thinking about being a pediatric nurse, going to school for that because he's already done, you know, he's worked with pediatrics at the Naval Hospital in Guam and also was working in the ER. And now what he wants to do is be a corpsman attached to a Marine unit. I don't know, like, all the proper terms.
Yeah, they get a little complicated, but it's non-civilian. So.
Yeah.
Super awesome badass. That's what,
yeah. We're just, he cut his thumb recently and we're waiting for that to heal. Okay. So he's kind of like on admin duty and, we don't have all the information to know, like, if he'll get back to that job that he wants. Yeah. So that's where that sits right now. But all of these things are like, I couldn't, like, when he told me that he was like, oh, I'll go be a pediatric nurse. I'm like, okay, like, I'm not disappointed. Like, it's not, yes, please. Like, yes. That's fucking awesome. Like, I mean, awesome. My youngest, Ethan, he just joined the Marines and he's currently at, Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, waiting to be an electrical engineer. Wow. Like, these kids, like, that for me, it was like the biggest for them being in the service. Like, I know they're taken care of. They're going to get a paycheck. They've got a job to go to every day. They've got, you know, benefits, health, medical, like, just everything. Like, they're taken care of and they're doing it on their own. So, like, they get to grow from that too. Like, Jacob grew so much. When he signed his first contract with the Navy, he was 17 years old. He turned 18 the day after he graduated boot camp.
Did they let you do that?
Because in Navy boot camp, you don't ever actually hold a gun. I think maybe that was the reason that he was allowed to be in so young and so early. And then Ethan, like I said, he did 3 months of boot camp down at MCRD and then was shipped off to the East Coast. And like I said, electrical engineer. And it's super weird because my dad lives in just like a half hour south of where Ethan is. And when he was in the Marines, he was there and he was in the exact same area because he ran a flight simulator. Yeah. So Ethan is like literally living in the same area on base that my dad was at. That's and my dad thinks it's just the coolest thing.
Right.
So
that's good.
So for me, you know, what my boys were going to do was high on my list of priorities of like, what the fuck am I going to do with this new life? And they're taken care of and they're doing it on their own. Like, it's not like, okay, Ethan, you got to wake up and go to work or don't forget to pay your car insurance or whatever. It was like,
girlfriend pregnant.
No, they're good. We text a bunch. We talk as often as we need to.
Think they're going to ride motorcycles in the future?
Well, Jacob does.
Yeah.
And that is one of, it's probably one of the things that I don't want to say I'm most proud of, but for me, it was a super proud moment because when he got his license, I don't know if Mikey even had his motorcycle license yet.
That's right. We should talk. I mean, Mikey, riding was kind of a newer thing for Mikey.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you started riding because your husband was riding.
Mm-hmm.
It was your husband started riding
because I was always fucking gone.
You know, and he had a few conversations with me about that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you don't think it's weird, you know, but yeah, because it kind of works like, Mikey, ride your way. Good for you. And I remember in Kernville, we talked about that. It was, you guys were having fun with the new Cinecom systems.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, no fucking way. I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah. We're not talking to each other. Or what was, so the music you were playing, he could hear,
Uh-huh.
and then he'd point at it and be like, I don't want this song, and so he'd change it.
No, it wasn't that. It was that sometimes we would get disconnected. And so I'd have to we had just put the Senna Bluetooths on both of our helmets, and they had just upgraded the system where you could share music with the person you were riding with. Okay. And I hadn't figured it all out yet. This was our first trip. And so he would point at the helmet and I could see him in my mirror. And I would know he's not getting the music. So I'd have to pull over, turn off the Bluetooth, turn it back on, reset the thing and make sure we were getting back on. But even if we didn't have music, he liked to ride with it on, just to hear, if he wanted to say something or he just wanted to hear the pipes. One of the things, he hated riding in front. He hated being the first. Oh, okay. If we would ride stagger, because when he was at work, he ran heavy equipment. It was just him alone all the time, sitting in the cab. So he wanted to see me. And so with the Senna, he could go in front because he didn't have a speedometer and I didn't know how fast he liked to ride, what he was comfortable on. Sure. So I always wanted him in front. So I was not, just outpacing him or pushing him further, harder than he wanted to. Yeah. So the Senna, actually Alyssa from Senna, hooked us up with those. Great friend. Yeah. A good one. And it was perfect timing and it made that trip, for us. And, I could hear his big stupid loud pipes, so we knew that the Sennas were on and that's cool. And yeah, no, it was good. That was good for us. But so to go back to Jacob, so he had been saving up, he was still in high school when he got his permit and his license. He had been saving up money to take a girl to Disneyland. Nice. And, high school girls are fucking stupid. And that never worked out. And he had all this money. And I'm like,
Weren't you a high school girl once? Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Well, I tell you, here's what I've learned. I get to... women pick on women. Oh, my God. This weekend, Mitch, at Speed Kings, at the Dino Days. Oh, she was going crazy on some girl. Anyways, you girls are awesome. Okay. Crazy bitches in high school. I mean, crazy young girls in high school. Sorry.
So anyways, the money he had saved up, I'm like, that's how much it costs to go take the safety course and you could get your motorcycle license. So he fucking did.
That's beautiful.
And then the first ride that we took, I rode my bike to my mom's house, picked up her Rebel, which Annette now owns.
That thing's bitchin'.
And Jacob took the Rebel. And I took my bike and we rode up to Palomar, him and I. Cool. And then I remember on the way back, I let him ride my bike home and I drove the car from my mom's house and followed him. Mm-hmm. He is on the motorcycle in front of me alone on the road by himself, not with his mom behind him,
This is great. This is classic.
And, that's a moment I'm just never going to forget. I can remember the exact road we were on. There's this stop sign that we get up to and it kind of goes up to a hill. And I just remember watching him and that was me. I was mom. I was always there in the background. When it's a camp out, they would go out and, take off for hours in the Jeep or whatever. And they'd come back and dinner would be ready or lunch or whatever. That was just always my role. And Mikey took them surfing. Mikey took them on all the Boy Scout campouts. I did a few when he didn't have time to do it, but he didn't have a lot of time. So you'd like to spend it with them. Right. But motorcycles, that was my thing.
I love it. I'm sorry.
It's cool.
It's so cool, Beulah. And that's why I had you bring it up. I'm just so in awe of the family dynamic. Mm-hmm. It's good for you.
Yeah. And I think the kids think it's cool. When Ethan was still in middle school, I'd be like, if your teacher doesn't email me this week and tell me you missed an assignment, I'll pick you up on the motorcycle on Friday. Right. So all of his little friends would be waiting for their moms to come pick him up in their stupid SUVs. And I show up on a motorcycle and he just gets to be the little hero.
Yeah.
But he's not interested in bikes. Yet. I'll put a question mark on that, but right now it's he's not concerned with it. It doesn't do anything for him.
Yeah, give it time.
Yeah.
He's still young.
Yeah.
Boys are especially boys, brothers, they're always polar opposite of each other.
They totally are.
Brothers are,
They didn't fight when they were kids, but it's not like they didn't get along or whatever, but they just were two different personalities, different kinds of friends and different.
Well, thank God they both look like you. They're good-looking young men. It was great I only met them once, unfortunately. It was at the funeral, but they're good young men.
Yeah,
good for you.
They're huge. There's I don't know if I showed you this picture. Well, I'm sure I posted it on Instagram, but
I
They're huge.
One is even taller than Mikey, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. I think they both are, actually. Mikey was like 6'1".
Yeah, he was as tall as me. He was pretty well built, so...
Yeah.
That was the... it was a good one.
Anyways, it's a really good looking picture.
Imagine. Okay,
see, look how tall they are.
Holy heck, maybe you're just short.
No, I'm 5'9".
Yeah, that's true. They're both like 6'3". Well, you fed them well, obviously. Yeah. You know how to cook, apparently. Holy heck, well done. How's it been with your mom, Mikey's family?
With my mom?
Yeah, your family, Mikey's family, everybody getting married.
You know, Mikey's dad took it the hardest out of everybody.
Yeah, that was rough. That was pretty apparent.
Yeah. He still has a rough time with it, but I don't know how to help. Yeah. I gave him the number because I have the same insurance as him, and I know we have free mental health care. And it's like, all you have to do is call this number and they'll help you find a therapist and you can go. I even took him to group therapy with me and the boys, like right after, to take advantage of the time because Jacob had to come home from Guam for the funeral. Right. And so he was only there for like 2 weeks. So I made sure we all got into therapy together just to like open that door. And his dad never went back. Yeah. And I don't know if it would help, just crusty old dudes. They don't really change their ways.
Crusty old dudes, we do not change our ways. We do not.
So, I mean, I try, but the way I like usually operate, and it kind of might put people off or make people think I'm a little bit cold, is like if I meet like your friend, Curtis, that's 1K guy.
Yeah, Curtis Morgan. Yeah.
So
okay.
I would shake his hand, but I'd be like, that's Bob's friend. There's not a place for me in that situation.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And also with Mikey's family, like, oh, that's your mom. That's your dad.
Right.
We grew up, our parents were divorced.
Right.
So it would, I guess I've always grown up in like that separate family situation.
Yeah.
And it's not sad. It just is what it is. It's just always kind of how I've always operated. It's just like, where do I fit in or not? And I'm cool with either. But I just always kept it separate out of respect. Like, I don't want to
sure.
like step on anybody's toes or force myself into a situation. I definitely hold back a lot, but that's just me. That's my shit. That ain't your shit.
Yeah.
So as far as like afterwards talking to them and stuff, I check in with Mike every now and then. I've checked in with his mom a couple of times, especially more recently. And it's not as uncomfortable as I thought it was going to be.
Good.
But I mean, like with Mikey's mom, like we just were never terribly close. Like her and Mikey would talk all the time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And, that was their relationship. I just don't want to interfere or like put my 2 cents in where it's not asked for or, whatever. I'm just reserved and I just keep it separate. I feel out of respect, but other people might take it as like, I'm kind of coldish.
Well, you kind of just explained every motorcycle rider I've ever met. So we all have our differences. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes us, maybe in the end, that's what makes us ride motorcycles. We do not drink the Kool-Aid that society offers us as far as driving cars or getting around or burning petrol fuel or how to enjoy the American road or not, and that's always the benefit of motorcycle ride. Was that your knuckles?
Yeah, sorry.
Heck, that was loud. That's okay.
I'm very cracky. So you typed up these nice notes for me.
You didn't even use them.
Meh.
I think,
fuck it.
That's how it goes, but and I do. If you call it pre-production, but the answer is it's nice to get my head straight. So I just type it out.
No, totally. Yeah. It's nice to have like little bullet points or like, if the conversation starts wandering, gotta reel it back in.
And I'm a writer, so you're looking about 38 seconds of my time to write all that out, I just tapped it on the typewriter. But I think it comes to the future.
Yes.
I know the other day in confidence, you told me about your journaling and writing. And so here I am on a podcast saying,
blurting it out like a fucking asshole. You didn't keep it in the cone of silence.
That's right. I'm excited to hear if you're going to express some more in the future and what riding has done for you.
Well,
as riding.
When I first got my motorcycle, I was like, I thought I would do like, I'm going to ride every day, even if it's just around the block. See if I can do it. 365 days.
Cool.
And I ended up not doing that. But I do write or make a note of literally every ride. There's maybe like a dozen rides that I haven't documented. But like so I have a journal. One is this thick. Is 5 years of writing. I just started a new journal. And I keep it, my motorcycle journals, I keep it to the ride itself. And actually Annette had bought me a journal, and gave it to me along with the book. After, what do I say? Mikey's accident? I don't know.
After Mikey's passing.
After, anyways, after that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The one, the
Neil
drummer.
Peart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read all of it yet.
That's okay. It's a big book. It's a long book.
But anyways, in the journal that she gave me, I keep that separate for like my fucking ramble thoughts. I've been using it more and more lately, just as a way to like put it out and like, okay, I can go back and make sense of it. But the rides, there's little things that happen that aren't ever going to happen again. And I want to make sure I document it and I can come back so vividly to the rides when I'm reading about them. And sometimes stuff comes up like emotionally that fits into, you know, where I am. And I kind of work a little bit of stuff out, but mostly it's just to journal my writing, because I've been doing it since I first started writing. Like, how could I stop?
Yeah. No, that's
so like there's one that stands out right now. I was coming home from work, splitting lanes on the 15. There's a bunch of construction there, a bunch of K-rails. So the line, there's not a lot of space between the lanes.
Yeah.
And, you know, normally if there's a shoulder, people will move out of the way. Well, you can't because there's a K-rail there.
Right.
I was coming down, splitting lanes, and I see a truck with this big giant mirror sticking out of the side. And as he notices me coming up, close the mirror in so I could get past a little easier. Swear to God. But like, if I didn't write that down, I would forget that. And that's like never happened before, and B, never probably going to happen again. So like, you got to write that shit down. And there's all kinds of like little things. I remember one time I was coming home and for some reason I could smell everything. And I just kept saying in my head, because I knew what I wanted to write down: bubblegum, cat food, butterscotch. Because I just wanted to remember, and like I can remember the stuff like super clear. And so I have a question: do you ride with music? You don't ride with music? Have you ever?
I actually ride with music all the time, or I listen to audibles, and that's a big thing. And you know, originally, my favorite narrator is R.C. Bray, and he does really good stuff on Audible. He's a narrator, professional narrator. Mm-hmm. But I can hear his voice in my helmet crystal clear without issue. And that's why I enjoy his work so much. A lot of the stuff he reads is fiction and maybe not stuff I'd be into, but I enjoy the way he reads a story. So.
You know, I haven't listened to many podcasts or books because...
well, that can be hard to hear at 80 miles an hour.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like with music, it's like, for the most part, I know my playlist, and if I can hear the beat, I know what I'm listening to or whatever. I'm just afraid that if I listen to a podcast or something, I'm going to miss stuff.
Well, excuse me. I just bought an amplifier. Mm-hmm. It's an inline active amplifier that I can plug in line, and it's not going to hook directly to my Senna. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to run earbuds. Thank you. So luckily, I've got a friend who's an audiologist, and so I asked her, "Hey, can I get some earbuds made? You know, some." She's like, absolutely, let me figure it out. So I think it's going to be pricey. I'm sure, maybe, whatever, $200-300. You know, in fact, my buddy Colt just did it, and I ran into him last night. I should ask him. But I think that's going to be the alternative. And it's not because Sennas aren't loud enough. They work great in a regular full-face helmet. Yeah. But my full-face helmet is open in front to make room for my beautiful, adoring, oversized cheeks, you know, which so you end up with a lot of wind noise. Or I'm running a 3/4 helmet, which I prefer most of the time. And so... it's half of one, half dozen of one, 6 dozen. I get it.
Whatever, forget it.
Whatever.
Fool me twice, fuck you.
Fuck you. So I think, you know,
well, you ain't gonna fool me again
because it is important to me.
Yeah. So well, when I have sport earbuds in, Like not the ones that come with like your regular iPhone. Those ones slip out. But when I have the sport ones in, that I can hear much more clearly.
Right. That's a big one.
But I love my Senna because I don't have to deal with any fucking cords.
I know. It's so... Because the cords, I'll forget to button down in my vest, and then it's flopping in my face.
Just forget it. Yeah.
No, I'm really excited. And I know Senna's looking at a mold in ear thing. Alyssa was telling me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty excited to see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try the active amplifier for now and then go with the in-ear molds. And I think it's always going to be an ongoing thing. I know, like, my dad, he tried riding with music and just couldn't do it. You know, and you talk about missing stuff. I remember when he passed away, I looked through my phone for a picture of him riding on his motorcycle, that big black 1300. I never took one. Isn't that funny? Like in my head, this is the image of my father, just riding like an old man, you know, and I just never took a picture of him riding on his motorcycle next to me. But he was usually there, always there, to the right, to the left, or behind me just a bit. I guess I just thought he'd always be there, and I never got a chance to take a picture of him. So, give and take. I'm hoping in the future I find a way to get the audible much more clear. Even my podcast, believe it or not, I push it. Like, my levels are peaking, and I do that on purpose. And there's a chart for it, but I do that so anybody riding a motorcycle with a windshield can hear my podcast. You know, it's very important to me. Where other people might play it in their shop and they're like, hey, if I turn this all the way up, you know, it distorts. I'm like, yeah, I kind of do that on purpose. Yeah. It's a little louder than it should be on purpose.
Yeah.
But
that's funny.
Yeah. All we can do is our best in that. And at that point you end up, I mean, it's over 100 decibels. It's really loud.
Well, now you're talking nerd stuff.
Okay, I'll shut up.
You're going over my head. So, let's see. My healing road. Let's talk about that. Your little note here.
I think you're doing real well. That's my opinion. What's your opinion?
Well, like actually being on the road, I figured that trip to so EDR. Weird side note.
That's right.
May 3rd was the first day. That was the Friday. That was actually Mike and I's 21st wedding anniversary.
You guys are married a long time.
Yeah, it would have been our 21st. And I had been wearing my diamond wedding ring since he passed.
Since his passing.
Let's not make this awkward. Sorry, guys. Because I never wore it because it would just get stuck in my gloves. And to be honest, I had gained too much weight to wear it comfortably. Okay. So I had been wearing that ring. Well, by May, I had lost almost 30 pounds and it was just like dangling on my finger. Yeah. And when I got home from that trip on Friday night, the first thing I did when we got to our room, the girls were, unloading their bikes. I ran into the ocean and I have this necklace right here. This has his ashes in it. Just a little teeny bit. Good. And I dumped some of his ashes in the ocean right there. Like I just jumped right in the water. And because one of the things the boys did was a paddle out where they dump ashes in the water and the surfers get in a circle and they do lays and do this whole thing. And that was for them. That was the boys. Ethan planned that. He wanted to do that. He rounded up all the people.
That's cool.
I guess part of it is just like, your ashes are in the ocean and the ocean's fucking everywhere.
That's right.
So, and actually when I was in Korea with Jacob, it was Mikey's birthday and I put his ashes in the ocean there when we were in Busan. And I just thought like, okay, if I visit a new body of water, this will be the thing I want to do. Because I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I don't know what to do. Like what's appropriate. Some people seem like they handle it well, how they're remembering or how they're memorial. I don't know. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was not prepared for this situation. So anyway, I put some of his ashes in the ocean, in San Felipe. And then when I got home, this fucking ring was just like dangling around my finger. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? It felt weird to like celebrate this anniversary alone. And that's when I decided to take my ring off because I knew it was going to come off at some point. So that's bringing it back to some deep shit.
That's some deep shit. Well, the answer is you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And Mikey was a man similar to myself. We're the same age in that regard. That's what I mean. Similar in age. He was a man just like me. but he wasn't just like
a man's man.
A man's man. Yeah, a man's man. And I remember years before my dad passed, he said, here's what I want, but I'll be dead, so whatever. So that's how we got to figure it out as a family. Yeah. My dad had 5 children and lots of grandchildren, all sorts of, so it was a big to do. But the answer is, yeah, you get to do it any way you want. Yeah. And I think that's what's important. I know it meant a lot to me. I took my dad's ashes back to his hometown and buried him between his mom and his dad. Mm-hmm. And that's, I did it on his motorcycle. Mm-hmm. And that's why, and I've said it before, that's why I track so much to the Ride 1K today, because it was the only race that I had done that my dad looked at and went, hey, let's do that sometime. I think I could do that. Like, I don't want to stampede. I don't want to, but I think we could do it. Well, he did. He just did it in a box in his saddlebag.
Shit. Well, I didn't know all that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's why I track so much to it, because my dad was such a fan of it.
Cool.
And it's all give and take, but it is what it is. And we know that, that our friend Mikey, the deceased, would want you to do it any way you want. Yeah. Everybody will tell you that. Everybody's also going to tell you how proud they are of you. I know I'm proud of you. I think you're rocking it. I think motorcycles have a lot to do with it.
Oh, absolutely. All the friendships that I wouldn't have made and connected so closely with so many people, definitely not without motorcycles. So to go back to this healing road, it was like a week or a week and a half later, it was when I was going to take that trip to see Angel, or to take her bike to her. And I'm like, for sure, I'm going to be alone on the road, my 1K in a day. I'm going to fucking scream and cry and get all this shit out. I did nothing. And I was like, wow, look at the mountains. Oh my God, it's 74 degrees. Where am I going to eat lunch? How much gas do I have left? Nothing.
What song am I listening to? Oh, that's great. I get it. And I think that's important.
So, but I was a little disappointed. I was like, fuck, I thought I was going to come back this like changed person. Instead, I just look like a zombie and I need to sleep for 4 days. So the road itself did not like directly affect my thoughts on the situation, because I still fucking stay up at night thinking about myself. What am I going to do? Yeah. What happens next? Where do I go? What should I do? Should I keep the house? Like, what are my kids going to do? What do they, it didn't fucking solve anything, but it felt really good.
That's right.
So when after the initial, I had to tell everybody what happened, and then everybody, came to me and we were all getting together during that time. I never felt more open, because like, I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. So I just was open. And on these trips, I was able to be more open to things, because it was like, I don't need permission to do anything.
No.
My bills are paid.
Yeah.
My dog's fed.
Yeah.
My clothes are clean. Like,
that's negotiable.
Well, not for me.
Need to have clean clothes.
No, I do.
Okay.
It was just a new.
My friend Beulah.
Sorry.
I love you. You're great. Yeah.
But no, it just let. There is a certain kind of freedom, because at this point, the boys were going to be out of the house.
Yeah.
And it was going to be us starting a new life, like being able to have all this time to spend with each other. Right. I mean, he was still working, 40 hours a week and making that drive over the Ortegas and everything. But it would just be more focused on us, where, we didn't have that time before. So it was already at a point in my life where it was going to be something new. But this is just not what I planned. And, that new part was supposed to be like the next 20 years. We're going to do all of these things, and then we're going to retire and do these things. Like, right. Well, it doesn't fucking matter.
That's right.
So there's really only so much you can plan. And all I was doing was just planning my next gas stop. So I would like look at the map, be like, I know I've got 90 miles on this, with my new motor.
Yeah.
So whatever is 90 miles from here, that's what's next. That's all I got.
And I think that's an important lesson in life. I rarely look in the future. I do everything in my power to live for the now, Beulah.
There's only so much you can do.
I can't have control. I can't plan. I know it drives everyone around me nuts. They're like, what are you doing next weekend? I don't know. Is there a motorcycle ride involved?
But like you can plan, and then if things go off track, it can fluster you.
Right. So that's why I don't plan.
Yeah. And I'm just now learning that.
I know. Isn't it terrible?
I mean,
and no one can tell you that. You have to learn it yourself.
Well, yeah. And yeah, that's a lot of stuff is like, even if things, you know, people have been through similar experiences, you don't really know until it happens to you.
That's right.
And that's what I was saying about like not knowing what to do if this had happened to a friend of mine, or not knowing how to talk about it, or I'm making it completely awkward by talking about it with my coworkers. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just trying. And if it doesn't work, next time I'll make sure I do it different. That's
you're gonna, you know, you're doing your best. That's all you can ever do. If your best isn't good enough, well, then you know for next time.
Yeah.
I truly believe the universe never puts us in a situation we're not able to handle.
And I think about that too, is I'm the one who could handle this. Like if this happened to me, like if the roles reversed, like
it wouldn't have worked.
I just couldn't even imagine.
It's very good of you.
So
I know we talked about it the other day. I give you a lot of credit. It's my opinion women are just stronger than men. And right, wrong, or indifferent, fair, unfair. This is...
What are you going to do?
Way too early. You're going to jump on your motorcycle and ride.
That's true.
What you're gonna
I got to get back home.
That's right. That's right. As we sit in my living room, right, you're 30 miles away in Lake Elsinore. Although it's a nice ride. No,
and the weather's so nice right now.
The weather's so nice. We are so spoiled.
Yeah.
It's gotten great in the last few days. I think it's going to stay good. So I never mind riding in the heat, but boy, it wears you out quickly.
Yeah.
We just came back from Durango. It was 115 coming across the desert. Boy, forget it. So I'm really excited about the new weather. Mm-hmm. You going to think about writing and publishing in the near future for us?
Well, so I'm going to go over my journals and see if any of that shit makes any sense. and if there's a way to like break it down for a purpose, I would consider it. I mean, I have ideas like the beginnings of brainstorming. But I don't know if I'm ready to make sense of it all just yet. If like I should just talk about this past year, or if I need to go back. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, take your time with it. You know,
I'd be open to it.
Yeah, and I know someone who owns a publishing company.
Oh, would you tell me his name and promote it a little bit right now on the American Roadrunner podcast?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I did it. And I think it's nice to share that information with people, because I think it's important for people to know. There's a few ways you can publish anything these days, and a lot of people can publish through Amazon, which is known as self-publishing, which is wonderful for the common person who wants to publish. So I'm a huge advocate of that. I did it a little differently. That is, I just opened up my own publishing company to publish what I want to publish. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot pricier the way I did it, but it's nice to extend it to people. Mm-hmm. If you need to publish stuff, right. we can publish.
Well, so I guess what my question is like, who gives a shit? Like, does anybody even care? Like, would it, like, why?
That's what I keep thinking. I guess, like, getting fan mail. I don't know what to tell you. People give a shit.
Well, like,
it's crazy.
I guess I want to give the people what they want. And I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure if I have a message or if I'm just fucking sitting there talking about myself.
I think the answer is it has to be, for me, it's selfish.
What's the purpose?
For me, it's selfish. Mm-hmm. It's selfish time I get to spend with myself, write it out, write my life out, figure out a few problems along the way, and do it all astride a rigid chop, you know, and by doing that and sharing it in a publication, it enables other people to learn from my mistakes. But at the end of the day, whatever they get out of it is up to them. For me, it's selfish. It's a good product that I got to put a lot of time, effort, and energy into in a time when I needed to, because my dad had just passed and all the other stuff I had to deal with that you know about. But it was what I did for my healing road. I published a book. That's what worked for me.
And I think another thing for me too is like, I don't know what to do with that kind of attention. Like, I'm not an attention seeker.
Yeah,
some people have an attention bucket. My friend Mars coined that term.
That's a good one.
And some people need it filled. Mine just like knocked over in the corner because I don't give a shit about it. Like, I'm not true. when I think that's like where some of my social anxiety comes in. It's like, I don't, and like why I like to sneak in and sneak out of things. It's like, oh, cool. There's Beulah. It's not like, fuck yeah, Beulah's here. Let's do shots. Like, that's not what happens when I come to the party. Yeah, it's just like, oh, there's Beulah. Cool. Cause I'm like, this is perfect. Like, I think I'm much better one-on-one. I like one-on-one much more than like trying to entertain a whole group. I don't know how to do that.
It can be, I'm a musician. By education and by trade and by, I think I was 8 or 9 years old. I picked up a guitar and I've always wanted to play music for people. I got a degree in music, vocal music of all things. Well, it's a degree in music with applied vocal. They wouldn't let me major in mandolin. That's my favorite instrument, believe it or not.
Can you really play it?
Mandolin? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm pretty darn good. I mean, I'm not great, but I've got some licks. I still got some licks up my sleeve.
Well, my friends, Friend of the Devil, they play in like Elsinore every Wednesday, and it's just kind of like an open jam situation. If you ever wanted to come out on a Wednesday night,
like bluegrass, like vocal my mandolin. Most of the time, people shove my mandolin.
No, they would love it.
That thing off.
You got a washboard? Fucking play the spoons.
No, I enjoy it. That's for sure. I got it right over here.
But speaking of being in a band, Mikey and I were in a band for a little while.
Arkansas Toothpick?
No, I wasn't in that band. It was Beulah and the Beat.
No way!
Yeah. But I played bass, which is like not a very, nobody really gives a shit about the bass player.
Listen, I've made a lot of money playing bass.
But I'm saying, like, as far as like, I wasn't the front person. I wasn't doing crazy licks.
Naked on my bass amp.
I didn't ask.
You didn't have that happen to you?
No, I didn't ask.
Happen to all bass players?
Bob, I didn't ask about this.
Okay, sorry. I'm just saying bass players are awesome.
No, I mean, they're an important part of the band, and that was the perfect position for me because I just fucking held my spot. But I wasn't like flashy. I didn't need to stand up on the, speakers and like do a bass solo and you know what I mean? Like I just sat there and I kept the beat. Like it was me and the drummer in the back. So like that's where I feel I'm much more comfortable in the background, like making sure the whole thing's happening. Like I don't need to be up front. Yeah, I'm really uncomfortable in that situation.
Okay. Well, I've been up front. I've been in the back. Thank you, Beulah. So, it's okay to entertain.
Bob.
When you have to create, you have to create. And that's just it. I create for my selfish reasons. I'm glad other people
As do I.
Yeah, so that's all you got to do. Concentrate on the selfishness of creativity, and make it part of your healing road.
Yeah.
The end. That's what it means to me. So, half of one, 6 dozen of another.
You got it all wrong.
As usual.
As per usual.
I'm only 42.
Close enough.
The Lord's still working on me.
Yeah. But seriously, like thinking about the brainstorming of it, is it like the widowhood? Is it the motorcycle riding? Is it the community? Like, I don't there probably has to be like one like defining focus, and then I can like talk around it.
Yeah. I always
or just my own crazy thoughts, because I have some pretty like fun, fucked up thoughts.
Well, and people relate to that. I always refer to it as like a third element. I mean, there's 1, 2, and 3, and there's love, there's life, and then what's the third element?
Is there an answer?
It's whatever you want it to.
Oh, I thought
that makes your story interesting.
Love, okay.
Right. You're a human, there's going to be love. You're alive, there's going to be life. So there's going to be things that happen. And what's the third element?
Motorcycles?
In my case, it's figuring out craziness while racing a chopper cross country in my first book.
I guess.
My second book's going to be quite a bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm doing a prequel as well. That's fun.
Of this new book? Or prequel to...
Yeah, just a prequel to I've decided to turn the American Roadrunner into a series.
Okay.
So there's going to be a series of books. And it's all going to start with a prequel, which is kind of cool. It's the gateway drug to motorcycles, which for me was BMX.
Okay.
I was a big BMXer as a kid. I even had a paper route, so it's just several chapters. I'm getting ready. How do you release a prequel, though? The answer is you give it away for free as much as you can, so I'm pretty excited to do that in the near future. But again, that's me being selfish. Yeah. I'm going to write about riding bicycles in my childhood and what it meant to me.
Yeah.
And strapping a guitar on my back and being that cool kid.
Well, when you talk about selfish, that's what I think about anything that I create. It's like, it's just whatever the fuck I feel like doing, whether it's, my art, sewing.
Sewing.
Anything.
You're like a master sewer.
Only for myself. It's only because like shit doesn't fit me at the stores. So I know I'm going to alter it anyway. So tall and top heavy.
Bumps in the wrong places.
No, they're
bumps than usual in the right places.
Right.
You are pretty easy on the eyes, young lady.
Thanks, friend.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, I seriously, I started sewing when I was like 13.
That's cool.
I've always done like creative stuff. And I always get compliments on the things that I make. So like, I know I'm doing a good job, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it so my clothes look better on me.
Yeah.
That's selfish.
See, I get it.
So yeah. And I consider it an art.
It is.
It's creative.
Art. Yeah. And it's something that I think we're losing as a society, and it has nothing to do with men or women. Well, obviously it used to be women's work, women sewed. That's what they did.
But that's beside the point. It's just creating something with your hands, no matter what it is. It's yours.
Yeah.
And even with motorcycles, like I said, with like, all these like crazy fucking choppers, I consider that art.
I agree.
So.
You said about the art show we got coming up on the 26th.
Keep going. The 26th. October 26th, the Moto Mash Helmet and Art Show.
Fucking coffee maker's going off again. I love that machine. Moto Mash Art Show.
Here in downtown Riverside at the Mind and Mill.
Yeah.
Girl on a Moto, my podcast. I don't want to say mine, the podcast I'm a part of, because this is Connie's.
Connie and Beulah's podcast.
Yeah, we're having a motorcycle and Halloween themed painted helmets and skate decks. And they're all going to be auctioned off for MotoFam, our favorite motorcycle charity.
Yeah.
They help riders in life-altering accidents, loss of limb, loss of life, crazy.
I'm a big fan.
Crazy comebacks.
I'm a big fan of what MotoFam does. Let me just state that.
Yeah. So that's what it's going to benefit, but it's still going to be a rad fucking party. And there's going to be all kinds of artwork available from all of the artists that are participating, not just their helmets, like their other pieces are going to be up in the gallery for a month.
Yeah.
And even those pieces, not just the night of the show. If you come in and buy any of those pieces, part of that is also going to go to MotoFam. So everything we're doing is going to benefit MotoFam.
I'm so excited.
And there's so many fucking sponsors.
So great. Man, I'm a sponsor. I'm throwing together an art piece. It's kind of exciting.
Cool. Yeah. People, I'm stoked. And Connie's been doing all of it, so I haven't even seen any of the stuff that's coming in or any of the submissions or anything. Like this will again be my role as like, what do you need me to do? Delegate and I will take care of it for you. That's where I feel comfortable. So I'm letting her round up all the good shit and I will be there to help her carry it or whatever she needs. Exactly. But it's going to be, and it's a costume contest and I already know what I'm going to dress up for. And
I got to put together a costume. I don't think my fire extinguisher or Trojan man will work. So I got to come up with something more creative.
Okay. Well, I got mine.
Good for you. Maybe I can dress as an alternative to yours. I'll have to figure it out. If you're wearing black pants, I'm going to wear a black shirt. So we're gonna do it. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that's going to be good. And also, so we can talk about the podcast for a little bit. Cause you have that on here somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan.
Tell about the fulfillment the podcast gives you. I get to talk about motorcycles.
With cool people who ride motorcycles.
Yeah. It's nice to share our stories and, Connie and I get out and ride. Sometimes we ride different rides. Like she doesn't have the freedom of time to travel as much as I do. So I bring a perspective to that.
Kids are younger.
Yeah. And, she's tied into her job and is always super busy. It's hard for her to get that free time. So that free time, those blocks that she gets off work, like that's family vacation time.
Yeah.
So it gives a different perspective. Like we ride different bikes, like her bike's super clean and super fancy. And like her outfit always matches with like the fucking, that's why she has so many sweatshop bags because that's like her purse. It's her accessory. Whereas I'm just like, here's my dented tank. Here's my fucking Builtwell bag full of anti-nausea, anti-diarrhea, fucking a flashlight.
Good for you. Yeah. Connie always looks good.
So we have a different perspective. But we're also, I still consider myself a fairly new rider, only just over 6 years. I do have a lot of miles.
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know everything about it. So I learn from other people. I'm now learning about like, you know, getting this new exhaust on my bike. What are the things that I need to do? What am I looking for? What do I need from it? How is it going to change the performance of my bike? Like I'm learning. So not only do I get to share my stories of traveling and, you know, if other people want to do that, cool, or they have questions, but like I'm also learning as I go. Like we get to talk to these cool people in the industry and I get to ask all these questions. And the thing that surprised me the most is how intimidating it isn't. Because when you know, like, just, I don't know, like it just seems like, oh, you're a builder or you're an artist or you're this or you're that. And it's just like, you're up here. And it's like, no, we do the same thing. Like, and you're super welcoming and super nice and smart and funny. And I never would have asked you because I was too fucking shy. So.
Yeah. And they've heard your story on the podcast. So now they're going to share their story.
Yeah. And we get to share that with people. And the only thing I wish we had more time for is to actually ride with the people that listen. Because we have a bunch of listeners that are local and, you know, they participated in that, the motorcycle podcast challenge, which you were encouraging other people, you know, people to go out and ride and, you know, we play a fun game. Like, I wish we could organize rides more often, but it's more just like the events or like, you know, we'll post like, we're going to be at this event. And, you know, we've met like, I guess there are fans and had like pictures taken and stuff. Like it's cool.
I get it. It's way cool.
It's shocking and it's, makes it worth it.
I think it's neat to hear what other people are doing. Mm-hmm. I had a guy from Austin, Texas call me today his name's Nick. He owns a bar there down on SoCo, but he, we just had we chatted each other's ear off for 45 minutes. Never met, but he had read my book and it was exciting to hear all the good stuff he did. I love sharing stories. This podcast is all about sharing stories. That's the only reason I do it. Notice I didn't say the name of the podcast. I'm getting better. But I love sharing stories.
But I digress.
Well, I'm excited to see and enjoy and be next to all the fun that you have in the future.
Totally. And this next, like seriously, the next one, like 7 weekends, I have something going on. Next weekend, Next weekend, I'm going to Joshua Tree. The weekend after that is Kernville. The weekend after that is Babes Right Out. Yeah. The weekend after that is Pilgrimage. The weekend after that is the Moto Mass Show. The weekend after that is El Mirage. Are you doing that? Like it's a hooligan dirt race, camping, something.
Yeah, I think I might show up. I don't think the land speed racing that weekend, and El Mirage has been shut down to that. The problem is I start yelling at people if I think they're being rude to. I'm just kidding. I made that comment to Richie last time he made that. I'm like, make sure nobody tears up the surface, damn it.
Oh.
He was like, no, we don't do that. We won't be doing that anyways. But that would be real exciting. And I think
I've never been out there and
Robert too.
Yeah.
Have a good time with.
I know I'll have some friends out there. So that just depends on the weather if I'm going to camp or just ride out for the day. But yeah,
the weather should be good. It's not that far.
No, I know, but you know. Yeah. That's the only thing is just planning around the weather. Like if it's time to go for a ride, it's like, well, how much time do I have and what's the weather like? Like even my trip to Milwaukee, I was like watching the radar every night and it's just like, okay, that kind of like planned my path, but it ended up taking me on the best, most beautiful one. Anyways.
Yeah, no, you did real well on that. And you're right about Nebraska and Iowa, but I've learned, I know we're digressing here, but I've really learned to enjoy the long, straight, flat,
predictable. Yeah, no, totally.
And there's a little up and down in Iowa, but Nebraska's
it's just straight and flat.
This is the same way.
Yeah, totally.
And they'll say,
just go through those at night. Don't worry about it. I mean, unless you have time and you're dilly dallying.
Signs like, "Welcome to the capital of Nebraska," and you don't see a skyscraper. There's nothing here. It's just trees. Where's the capital? Oh, cracks me up.
But the thing I do enjoy about that is just all the sky. Like you can just see forever and it stays light forever. Yeah. Like even when I was going through Nebraska at night, I could see thunderstorms off to like the southeast of me, but the road kept going like northeast. And I knew, and it was dark and I couldn't see the moon. Like the moon wasn't out, so but I could, but I could see the lightning, like lighting up the clouds. Okay. But then the other way I could see some stars and I'm like, okay, good.
There you go. That's exactly, you're right. That's how you do it. And I've been real fortunate to just be in the middle of nowhere to love the North Texas sky. That sky goes on forever. It's almost eerie for people like us living in the
We've got all kinds of, we've got all kinds of mountains all over the place.
But, people have done it before. So why not us?
Yeah.
It's not much.
And I've been through, shitty weather or whatever. Even this last trip, I took one last hurrah to Oregon, cause I knew I was going to start this new job, and I was not trying to recreate the first Oregon trip.
Well, I wasn't there, so I'm sure you could not.
But I did, I slept in that same teepee. I went back to that.
Cool.
I went back up to that property, but different things happened. My bike got stuck in the rocks. I got a massage, and then I had to ride in the rain for 6 hours. It was not, good and bad. Good and bad.
Yeah, good and bad. It's always different. Every road's different. That's the best part of it.
And these experiences that I've been open to have just been things that you don't want to recreate. It only happened that night. The first night that I made it to the Oregon run was sitting around the fire, and I don't know if you met Steve Dewey. He does leather work.
Oh, yeah.
I bought one of his wallets. It's really fucking nice.
Cool.
And he was playing guitar.
That's right.
And just playing it was just perfect. And then his friend was sitting across the fire pit, and they were duetting, singing to each other. These two dudes, fucking, I think Steve still had his chaps on when he was playing. And this other guy with this fucking denim jacket and all these patches, and they're just fucking looking deep into each other's eyes singing. You can't recreate that.
Yeah.
You don't want to. I fucking enjoyed every second of that, and was cool, that's never going to happen like that ever again. And it was
that was a good time. I'm just glad he took the guitar from the one lady, the topless lady, he was playing good music.
Yeah.
And that was fun too, because I bet you every half an hour, I'd think, where's Beulah? Is she okay? What's she doing? Where'd she go? Beulah, you okay? And you're like, leave me alone. I'm listening to music. Enjoy the fire. Oh,
don't worry about me.
Oh, okay. I'll stop worrying. Half an hour later. Hey, Beulah, you okay? How you doing? That was good.
So the second trip was much different.
Cool. There was no Bob asking how you were doing. Okay.
But it was good in different ways. And that last night, when I left my friend Nicole's house from Chiloquin, I was heading home, and I knew I could do 500 miles easy in a day when it's just by yourself.
7 straight shot at 700 or 800.
Well, yeah.
790 or
But I knew for sure I could do 500, and I'm like, well, if I do 500, I'm 2 gas stops away from home.
Yeah,
there's no point in getting a room.
You came over the grapevine.
And it was just, I might as well just keep fucking going. So I did 777 miles.
That's great.
I almost was. There's just no way I could do a 1K. I was like, I could do my one last 1K home, but I would have had to really detour to figure it out.
Well, you got to go into Reno and then come back over Donner's Pass like I did. Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that. Yeah. But 777, that's a pretty good
day.
Yeah. I did it.
Agree.
And that's it. Now I got a job, and I just can ride on the weekends and to work.
You're able to come over the pass at night and not freeze? You didn't freeze coming over Grapevine?
Mm-mm.
Man,
no,
it
was
every time. Although that was 2 months earlier, I guess.
Yeah.
June.
Yeah. No, this was end of August.
Froze, man.
No, it was perfect.
Good for you.
It was pretty hot during the day. I think I rode without my jacket for a little while, which makes me super uncomfortable. I like to be protected as much as I can. No, seriously. You just feel it would just be so dumb to be I don't know, my leather jacket's right there. Why do I have a scrape on my arm?
Well, and I remember, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of a few times we've ridden together, and you stop a lot more than I do, in the turns and stuff. So I've come up behind you and I'm slamming on the brakes. You're like, just effing pass me already. You're just waving at me you're freaking me out. You're too close to me. Just pass me. I'm like, okay, sorry about that.
Well, see, that's where my inexperience is. That's why I say I haven't been riding that long.
Well, and I know.
I just try to be comfortable and safe.
Yeah, you come to a turn, you want to do the speed limit. I see a turn and I hit the throttle. I get excited about digging into that.
See, bitch. I don't know how to. I don't have those skills.
Yeah, well, give it time.
Anyways,
you still got my vote. You've been rocking it.
We can wrap it up if you want. I'm sorry.
Beulah, mate, you are a pleasure and a joy, and I appreciate you greatly.
Well, thanks for letting me invite myself onto your podcast.
You're always welcome, my friend. You know that. There's no thank you. Thank you.
And thanks for the tostada.
Oh yeah, that little Donatino's. That's a good place.
I eat.
I watched you.
Okay.
I saw you. I believe you. And it was great to be a part of that. I think we're all just jealous. You look good. Good for you.
Cool, thanks.
We're jealous. You're looking good out on your scoot.
Doing my best.
Good time. Your best is pretty darn good.
Thanks, friend.
Give me a hug.
Okay.
Give me a hug.
We're set to go, let's leave. Say bye to your families. A kiss for my babies. We won't be returning.
And that is how we get to end lucky number 27 podcast. If you haven't figured it out yet, 27's a good number for me. Beulah May sure is an exciting person. I really enjoy being her friend and enjoying all the stories she gets from the open road. Again, you can check out her podcast, Girl on a Moto podcast. Find it just about anywhere. Also, there was a good point where it was a little hard to hear, but the answer is I mentioned one of my favorite books called Ghost Rider by Neil Peart. Neil Peart is the drummer for one band called Rush. One of my favorite reads, Ghost Rider. Don't forget to check out my book, American Roadrunner. Find it just about anywhere on the website, any of the major purchasing platforms, it'll be there. And a new segment of the show, the Q&A. You send me a question and I give you an answer. This one here comes from Alicia with her handle of Alicia088 on the gram. She asks, what is the funniest thing that ever happened to you on the road? She also asks, how many total miles do you have on two wheels? The funniest thing that ever happened that I can remember was a time I was actually stopped and getting gas with my pops, and he decided to spill fuel all over his lap. And he was sitting on his big cruiser, and of course he sat on the back to fuel it up, which I never understood, because 2 or 3 gas stops later, he did the same thing again. At which point I got tired of him complaining of the gas in his lap, so I picked up the whole bucket of window cleaner, took the window cleaning tool out, and dumped the whole bucket on the gas tank for him, drenching himself, his crotch, and everything else, but at least I did not have to hear about his crotch being on fire from gasoline. That was the funniest thing I could think of right now. So yes, if your dad ever spills gasoline in his crotch from overfilling his motorcycle, feel free to dump the bucket of dirty window cleaning water that happens to be conveniently located next to the gas pump. Next one, how many miles have I done? Well, the problem is I don't really have speedometers on most of my motorcycles. I think I have speedometers on my Goldwing and my Pop's VT 1300 that I ride these days, but that one's really off, so I can't even rely on it. So I think the answer is somewhere around a few 100,000 miles. I'm probably right at that breaking point in my life where I've gotten to drive just as many miles as I've gotten to ride. I'm not sure. I like to get out and do a lot of miles and have been blessed to take the time off work and get out and enjoy America, enjoy all the roads. Alicia, my dear friend, thank you very much for asking me the questions. Now, I hope you enjoy the sound that you're hearing of my voice. Man, I got this new microphone and this cool new vocal booth I built in my house, and things are about to get a lot more exciting. Quality's going up. The world's just a wonderful road. Hope you all enjoyed lucky number 27 here of this show, Beulah's Healing Road. Until next time, my fellows, keep the rubber side down. Be good humans to each other. This has been your host, Bob Marshall.